Hi, Priyanka. So you've sent us your first set of essays. Wonderful. Let's take a look at what you have written here, okay? The first one is about schools and whether they should just educate or be more entertaining. Here's what you wrote. Schools are the basic foundation of kids' career. This is the medium or path by which they learn many skills. Some people believe the curriculum should be designed in an interesting and entertaining manner, while others opine that it should be more theoretical. I firmly believe that in the former statement, which would be discussed in this essay with suitable reasons and examples. All right, so the good news is that you've done a number of things properly with this introduction. You've included your position, which was very important since the essay definitely asked for it, okay? And you also showed and you used in your own words, you rephrased the task, okay? So you did all of that correctly. There are a few things, though, that I want to cover so that we can improve this introduction. And it's some issues with vocabulary and grammar. So the first thing is this. We never use the word kids in an IELTS essay. It's considered informal, so we always use children. You're probably thinking, yeah, well, I can't use children throughout the entire essay. Well, we will cover some other alternatives that you can use in an essay like this. But this should have definitely been children, and you needed an apostrophe as well, so it should have been children apostrophe S. Okay? Then, I thought these next couple of sentences were a little short and choppy. They didn't really feel very well linked to me. So you could have somehow combined them, or you could have added maybe a few things to just make them flow a little better. Let's try to read it again, okay? And there's one other thing that I want to change down here, not which would be discussed. You're not saying that theoretically you would discuss it, but in fact you will discuss it. So you need the future simple here. So let's try it again, okay? Schools are the basic foundation of children's career. Okay, and is the medium by which they learn many skills. All right, that's really all you needed to do here. So just combine these two ideas and just with an and is the medium by which they learn many skills. I think that would have been much better. Some people believe the curriculum should be designed in an interesting and entertaining manner, while others opine that it should be more theoretical. That's fine. I firmly, not you believe in the former statement, but you support the former statement. Okay, which will be discussed. So those are some of the changes that I would have made here. Let's move on. Firstly, with the entertaining medium, children will love to go to school. They will feel less pressured. Okay, again, one sentence. You can't start a sentence with because. In fact, you can't start a sentence with because, and, or but. So combine this with the previous sentence. They will feel less pressured because study through videos, plays, and games attracts infants' attention, and they learn faster or more quickly that way. Okay? So one sentence, no comma here after because. For instance, lowercase f, from recent research by IM University of London, schools which, they're not people, so schools which provide, no s, facts and skills through different activities have mentally and physically active students. Their survey reveals that 90% of children from the past few years like going to school since technical ways. What does this mean, technical ways, have been implemented? And how are technical ways connected to entertainment? So this is confusing here. Therefore, it is required to keep mentally healthy. It is required to keep a mentally healthy environment at school. All right, so some of this was really good, and some of it, what I really liked about it is that you held on to this idea of entertainment, which is something that a lot of people get wrong. They start talking about other things, and you kind of started doing that at the end. So, but you started off really well. So you started about entertaining. You talked about videos, play, and games, which was absolutely appropriate. Let's say you could have said through these different activities to even link it even better to this, and it would have, been more connected. And then you start talking about technical ways, and that confused me. And then here about a mentally healthy environment. Again, I think you should have written something about entertainment here. So you could have said, therefore, it is required to keep a mentally healthy environment, which includes fun in schools. Okay? That's really what you needed to do. Let's keep going. Furthermore, they will get practical and theoretical knowledge. Careful with this. You're starting a new paragraph. So this isn't really the right way to start this paragraph. When you have a sentence like this, it almost feels like it belongs in the previous paragraph. So make sure it's clear to us that you're starting a new paragraph, and you have an appropriate topic sentence which lays out for us what your central idea is going to be. So a better sentence here, which would have been more clear, would be something like, secondly, and why do I say secondly? Because you have firstly here, which means you have to have secondly. You can't have a firstly without a secondly. So secondly, children with entertainment in schools will also gain practical and theoretical knowledge. Okay? This is because when they do group activities or performance, they will learn in a realistic manner. For example, lowercase at Cambridge International School, UK. You probably wanted a capital and a capital here. They make students do, without the two, projects on pollution, global warming, female feticide, and topics with an S like that, so they can personally realize the good and bad side of the matter. As a consequence, they can learn something out of it rather than just cramming the definitions. Now, I think what you're talking about here is very interesting, okay? And you've got some ideas, and they're interesting ideas, and I liked reading about them. Unfortunately, there's nothing regarding entertainment here. All right, remember that that's what this essay is focusing on, this idea of entertainment in schools. Look. All right, what you're talking to me about instead is more project-based learning, more, doing group projects, and it's not entertaining, though. It can be fascinating, it can be engaging, but you didn't talk about this idea of entertainment. I want you to think about what entertainment means. All right? So this doesn't really cover it. So let's move on. To conclude from the aforementioned arguments, I believe that learning channels must always be made in an easy and interesting way, so any student can learn something through them, because it's channels. In future, I hope, capital I, there will be more innovative ideas to make learning simple, easy, and understandable. All right, that's fine. So, yeah, you did a nice job here, but there were some things you had to work on. For me, the biggest problem was this paragraph, which really didn't deal with the idea of entertainment, but that's not a huge deal. I mean, it's your first essay. This happens really very, very often, but it's important at this stage in your preparation to understand what the topic is and understand that you have to really carry this idea throughout the essay. Okay? So, it's a good first attempt. Now I want to take a look at the second one, which is about doing an enjoyable activity. Here's what you said here. With the advancement of technology, there are many new methods to inculcate literacy, cognitive and intellectual skills in infants. So, inculcate literacy and cognitive and intellectual skills in infants rather than just focusing on reading. A child can develop knowledge from activities like play. Do you mean plays theater, or do you mean play like game play? So that's confusing here. They can convert their imagination to innovative ideas by having practical knowledge. I am a strong advocate of this approach, and the benefits of it will be covered in this essay. All right, so you really covered a lot of information here, and I think you could have left some of it out. Essentially, the introduction has certain purposes that it must fulfill. But after that, you really want to focus the development of your essay on the body paragraphs and less so on the introduction. So I think I would have left some of this out here. So, and just to be more specific, these are the two sentences I'm referring to that I think you could have really just condensed into, that a child can develop knowledge and creativity from activities which they could not gain from just reading. Okay? And then you could, use the expression that you've learned in the template, some of the extent of what you basically wrote, essentially, that I will support this idea with, arguments in the essay that follows. So something like that. I mean, it was fine, but like I said, I think you could have just condensed this a little more. Let's keep going now. Firstly, reading is not the only way to learn literacy skills like vocabulary, comprehension, and spelling. You cannot start a sentence with because. I said this in a previous essay. Therefore, you really need to combine these two. Let's try it again. Firstly, reading is not the only way to learn literacy skills like vocabulary, comprehension, and spelling because there are many new methods. There are many new methods available in the form of technology. Full stop here, okay? For instance, from the survey revealed by the University of UK, 80% of children like to learn from videos with their favorite cartoon characters. In addition, not all children are interested in reading. If we force them to read, they will become reluctant readers. Therefore, it is necessary to provide them different techniques of learning, resulting actual ideas despite of cramming the words or spellings. Studies are evident that they can learn better with sounds and visuals. Okay, this sentence was very confusing to me. I didn't understand what it meant because of the grammar. You had some grammatical mistakes here, and so it led to confusion. Okay? Now, as for this, you said that 80% of children learn from videos. I think you need to say something a little bit more about this. Like, what kinds of things can children learn? Because remember, we're talking about skills, right? So what kinds of skills can children learn from these videos with their favorite cartoon characters? All right, that's what you should be focusing on. And then here you talked about that, not all children like to read, but remember the focus should be on skill building. So make sure that that's included here. All right, so let's look at the next paragraph. Now remember, I told you that when you have a firstly, you must follow up with a secondly, not a moreover. So this should read, secondly, by acting in plays or videos, they become more creative. Now you've started a new paragraph here. All right, and your previous paragraph had a ton of different nouns. You had ideas, you had words, you had spellings, you had studies, okay, sounds, visuals. So now you're starting this new paragraph and you've got this they here. So, I mean, logically we know you're talking about children, but still it's important to make it absolutely clear what you're referring to. So this should refer to children in some way. Secondly, by acting in plays or videos, children become more creative. Toddlers can play with alphabet toys and can solve puzzles. Okay, what does that have to do? What do toys and puzzles have to do with plays and videos? That's confusing. For example, from visuals, they not only learn spellings, but also become able to pronounce them. They can follow gestures and enjoy learning from cartoons. That is the reason which helps to develop their mind in a creative way so that they can think about novel ideas and be smarter. This should have been one sentence, first of all. Here, I feel like some of the ideas aren't really joined very well together. We're supposed to be talking about fun activities that can develop creativity. All right, and then you talked about this acting in plays and videos, but then you never developed that. You instead talked about alphabet toys and puzzles. Then you talked about visuals, but I didn't know what you meant here. What visuals? They can learn spelling and pronounce words. And then, but what does that have to do with creativity? So what does spelling and pronouncing words have to do with creativity and imagination? Okay, and you said that they follow gestures and enjoy learning. But again, where is this idea of creativity? And then you mentioned it here, but it wasn't entirely clear. All right, so I feel like there are a lot of disjointed ideas that didn't create one central idea. And that's what was missing in this paragraph, okay? So to conclude from the aforementioned arguments and reasons, it is clear that other means of learning should be encouraged. Other means of learning instead of what? Remember, you have to continue with this idea of reading. You can't just abandon it. So include it in here. We can add reading books as well, but researchers advise that audio and videos are better to develop skills in infants. Okay, but you didn't just talk about audio and videos here. You talked about other things as well. So I would have made this a little more general. All right, so it's a good attempt overall. Certainly for your first set of essays, you've done a very nice job. you've used the template appropriately. But there are some things that I want you to work on in terms of task achievement, in terms of coherence and cohesion, making sure that you're really having central ideas that are well developed in your essay, okay? But, you know, for your first set, like I said, this is a very good place to be starting, so well done. Now, what do I want to see next? The first thing I want to see is these essays corrected, okay, based on the suggestions in this video. Then the other thing that you're going to send us is an error correction list where you write down what the mistakes you made were, and next to each mistake write down what the corrected version would be. That's a list you're going to add to with each essay correction you get back. And then the third thing you're going to send us, send them all together, is your new set of essays, okay? So try to include everything and try to apply everything you've been learning both in the course and through this video correction. So go ahead, get that all started. Let's try to meet back here with that new set of essays in the next day or so, all right? So good luck to you, and I'll be waiting for your next set.